The Black Ops 6 beta is finally here, and these are my thoughts about what's good and what needs to change ahead of the final game releasing. Now, a big selling point of the game is the Omni movement. In fact, it's probably the biggest selling point of the game. And I'm just going to come out and say it straight off the bat. I'm not going to agree with pretty much everyone else that I've seen. I don't think it's all that great. I think the movement to the side and moving backwards and moving left and right and maybe bobbing around corners of that feels very, very smooth. However, I feel it's very, very clunky in terms of its diving mechanics, its sprinting mechanics, its crouching mechanics, its going pro mechanics, and the sort of, once you do these things, then trying to like go again and then move again, I feel it's very slow, very clunky, it feels very heavy. It was only until I started putting on the movement perks later, as I was getting through the beta and later in the ranks, and unlocking these perks, that I feel like the movement was kind of getting a little bit better. It was kind of, you know, a bit more fluid. That's what I was feeling, especially if you use all the red perks. And then you get a kill, you get a movement boost, and you sort of get like a health regen, like quick fix. That really does help the game a little bit. However, if you're just going to have us boxed into another load of perks again, then the game's not going to be all that fun. There's not going to be an awful lot of variety purely because of the movement doesn't feel great without these perks. Also, the diving mechanics I don't really get for multiplayer. I know that we haven't really mastered Omni movement yet, and someone eventually will come up with some sort of movement guide that everyone uses, just like we did with slide cancelling back in Modern Warfare 2019. However, I don't see the point of diving and shooting in multiplayer. Like, why? You know, like at the end of the day, I've been playing this beta, I've been diving around, and then all of a sudden I've been maybe getting a kill, but then all of a sudden, because it takes me so long to get off the ground, I've been killed by somebody else. I don't see the point in these mechanics. I don't think Call of Duty needs these mechanics. And also, you've got to remember that Call of Duty at its heart is a very casual game. It's not meant to be, you know, a sweaty game or anything like that. It's meant to be for casual gamers. And put it this way, I imagine 13-year-old me back in the day would have loved to try and master this movement. However, 29-year-old me, who's going to work 40 plus hours a week and just maybe gets to play it after work, probably can't be bothered with the movement. So other than some issues with the movement aside, how does the rest of the game feel? Well, the gunplay feels absolutely phenomenal. Right now, the Jackal PDW is probably the most dominant gun in the game. I imagine it'll get nerfed heading into weekend 2 of the beta. It's pretty much an AR, but it's just an SMG, but it's good at close range, it's good at long range. Basically, it does beams, it's got no recoil, it's very, very overpowered. Everyone's running it. But it is fun, and I will say that the rest of the guns, sort of like the XM4, the AK-74, they all kind of feel pretty decent. The MP5, which is called the C9 for some reason in this game, feels a little bit weak at close range when it's up against the likes of the Jackal. However, for the most part, actually, the guns feel very, very good. All the guns feel very solid, and that leads us on to the Gunsmith, where I'm a much bigger fan of this year's Gunsmith, where rather than having like the different attachments around the gun, they're all just along the bottom this year. And then when you click on, say, suppressors, you click on suppressors, it brings you through another menu, which is a nice drop-down vertical menu instead of that constant scroll to the right, like it's some sort of random mobile game. The UI is looking clean, especially for Gunsmith and stuff like that, which is also a good point. And I hope that we can maybe see that built on as we go a little bit further forward with the beta and with Black Ops 6 coming out. Just get rid of the constant scroll to the right, and I think we might be on for a winner in terms of UI this time round. So far at the time of recording, I've only played 3 maps on the beta. Those are Derelict, Skyline, and Scud. And let me tell you, Skyline's alright. The other 2 are very, very poor. Derelict's not too bad in terms of it is pretty much just a traditional 3-lane map with a few bits of cover here and there. However, the visibility on it is so bad, especially with the movement, how it is. And obviously people dive around and stuff like that. It's so bad for visibility. So I think that needs tweaking a little bit. And then Scud just plays so poorly in terms of its layout. In terms of, you've just got one big dominant POI that people can head glitch on. It's very, very difficult to get people off the head glitch. And yeah, I think map design, hopefully going forward, will be a little bit better than those. And I imagine we're going to see pretty much some old school maps brought in. I'd be very, very surprised if we don't get like some Newtown when the game launches. And maybe also some, you know, nods back to Black Ops 2. You know, we got Raid, I think, in Cold War, so we might get that again. You know, we might actually get Fire Rangers something from Black Ops 1. I imagine nostalgia is going to be key to keeping some players involved in multiplayer this year, and I imagine we'll probably get some of the old maps as well, littered in with some of the new ones. However, the beta maps, I'd give them a 5 out of 10 at best. I don't think they're all that great, but the gameplay, in terms of the gunplay and stuff like that, does actually help make them feel a little bit better than what they are. Now, it's a controversial topic, but aim assist has been nerfed, and actually, at close range, it feels like there is very, very little aim assist, which actually is kind of better in my opinion. I'm actually a big fan of this, purely because it makes for a lot more interesting gunfights up close. You know, there's all of a sudden no more snapping on and stuff like that, and that there has been in, you know, Warzone and all the previous games that we've had. Aim assist feels a lot weaker this year, and I'm actually a bit more of a fan of that purely because it's going to create a little bit of a skill gap where you've got to get better on controller. One thing I will say is that aim assist at range also feels like it's been nerfed, where therefore you're now giving mouse and keyboard players a bigger advantage over controller players because it's much easier to control recoil and stuff with a mouse than it is actually using a controller. I don't know, I feel like there's sometimes where the aim assist is very, very good in the game, and then sometimes the aim assist is very, very weak in the game, and I feel like there needs to strike a happy medium there. However, the fact of the matter is that they are weakening it and are nerfing it and are kind of bridging the gap between control and mouse and keyboard is, for me personally, a good thing, and especially for competitive Warzone and multiplayer and stuff like that. One thing that I'm not a fan of is the amount of settings that are in this Black Ops 6 beta. I don't know if this will be in the full game, whether or not they might tone them down a bit. However, there's advanced settings for pretty much everything at the moment. You know, you've got settings menus and you've got advanced settings menus, and it's just crazy the amount that we've got. It might be a bit different on console, you know, because console kind of is maybe a little bit of a plug-in and play kind of thing. However, on PC, it is wild to be able to sort of load the game up straight away. I actually did try to press copy my Modern Warfare 3 settings over. That didn't work for everything. So my FOV was different at first, and my aim assist type was different at first. But I was having to hunt through menus to get these changed to then actually make it, like, make the game feel good. And I think I must have spent about 20 minutes on doing my actual settings to make sure that the game felt good. Straight out the box is not good. You need to be able to tweak your settings to make the game good. And I think this needs to be addressed before the final game comes out. You know, reduce the amount of settings there is. I think it's very, very overcomplicated for what it is. It's Call of Duty after all. It's meant to be a simple, you know, run and gun shooter, and we've got settings upon settings for everything. Definitely needs looking at. So going forward, I think there is a solid base for a very, very good game this year. I think there is some issues that do need tweaking, but this is what a beta is for. It gives players the chance to, you know, play, give feedback, you know, events like COD Next as well, stuff like that. So going forward, hopefully we will get an absolutely phenomenal game. It's the first Call of Duty that's had like a 4-year development cycle. So, you know, that is record-breaking in itself. And I think that Treyarch very, very rarely miss in terms of Call of Duty. So I'm expecting a very, very fun game, multiplayer-wise, in terms of, you know, the fact they're probably going to bring out games like Prop Hunt, One in the Chamber, all those kind of fun games as well. Then obviously they're in charge of Warzone this year. Area 99 doesn't look all that great from what I've seen, but you know, we won't actually know until we actually get physically hands on and play it. However, Treyarch campaigns typically tend to be very good as well, and Zombies looks, in my opinion, very good. I know a few people are like, no, this is not that good. However, I think Zombies looks very, very good. So I think we are in for a decent year Call of Duty wise, but is it going to be the be all and end all year that people think it's going to be because of the likes of Omni Movement and stuff? It looks better than what it feels, and I think that's going to be a bit of a problem.